Alright, hello everyone, welcome back for another shoutcast. And this is an older game played on release candidate 6619, which was one of the release candidates before the current public version. Anyway, this is a game, 2 vs 2 game played on Eruption, which is a map played by the Raging Bullet, and I believe this is the first shoutcast made on this map. It's actually a very nice map. It plays similar to Golden Cliffs. The build order is the standard build order: School, then Quarry, and Woodcutter. Nevertheless, the locations are very similar to Shadow Realm and Golden Cliffs. In fact, this looks very much like Kochi's style as well. And it's a nice looking map. Don't be alarmed, the mini-map makes it seem... the mini-map is ugly, I'm just gonna say that. But the map itself is very pretty, and I do want to draw special attention to this cliff here. This is my favorite thing on the whole map. It looks so perfect for me. But nevertheless, we'll get this game going. This is a 30-minute peacetime game, and these are my favorite kind of games. Just gonna turn my volume down a little bit. It's thunderingly loud for me. Anyway, I really enjoy these 30-minute peacetime games. It's a lot going on. I enjoy trying to manage my economy and fight at the same time, and these kind of games enable me to do so. And this Eruption map really deserves more playtime, as it's actually a very worthy map, and I think it can make for some nice games. It may be a little too large to be playing across the map on 2 vs 2, but it does draw for more open battles as opposed to fighting near bases and stuff, and that's what I really enjoyed about this game, as most of the fights were outside cities and in the open, and there were some nice tactics. Nevertheless, this is myself. I'm playing as Benny with a pink color, it seems, on this location. I have no idea the location numbers for the life of me, no idea. Anyway, this is my teammate. This is the Dark Lord himself, playing up here in the north. And he is going for a quick farm, it seems. And then iron, fast iron, but not incredibly fast. I am also going for a farm, it seems, probably making a mill. I do want to draw attention that I think there's 120 fish in this lake/ocean. It's supposed to be meant to be shared between these two locations, but actually, since there's no player here this game, I am able to take all the fish. This here is Killer, or Scene, as he's now calling himself. And he's going for a market strategy, trading his food away to logs. And that's really needed on this location, as trees are quite bad here. Difficult location. Gold and iron are nicely located, but it's awkward to play here, and this coal is really out of place. And Killer's teammate, this is Weekend, a German player. He's been in many shoutcasts, if I recall correctly. And he is also going for a market strategy, but here I see he is trading for skins, which is interesting. He's trying to get his leather production going really fast and getting it started early. Now I want to point out that it costs 2 bread for 1 corn, and it costs 4 corn to make a skin. Or a pig takes 4 corn to grow, and to the point where he can be slaughtered. That would be 8 corn, or 8 bread, which would give him a pig and a skin. So perhaps it would have been better to make the swine farm earlier, before the farm started cutting, like go farms then quick swine farm, and then do some trades for some corn instead. And then he would also be able to trade his sausage, 1 sausage to 1 corn, which would be quite a better strategy, I think, but we'll see how it turns out. Now he's trading wine barrels to leather armor. I don't think it's a good idea at all. I mean, that's not even 1 soldier. He still needs to make the materials for it. Weekend has but one bowman and 3 militia. Not even all that because he only has 3 recruits. And the Dark Lord, he has 3 pikes, or 2 pikes and a crossbowman. And I don't even have a barracks. Whoa, man, that's not good. What would I have? I would have 0 soldiers. So that's bad. 0 army at peacetime. Even 30 minutes. You don't want to be playing like that. So we'll see how this turns out. I didn't even check to see how Killer did. Actually, quite nicely. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's got the biggest army for sure. And if he was playing by himself, he'd be able to win the game if he attacked fast enough. I must have run out of wood or something. I have absolutely nothing going for me right now. I do have towers though. You can slip soldiers through here if you're wondering. That is definitely possible. The exploration. I don't think Killer knows. Okay, yep, he seems to know. But he doesn't want to lose his crossbowman, so. I made 1 sword fighter here, it seems, and I'm not actually sure why I did that. It could have been a mistake, like I made a shield by habit, or made a sword by habit, and then went ahead and made the respective extra materials. Okay, and we see our first fight. I did move. I want to draw attention to the tactic. I completely forgot about it. I knew Killer hadn't explored up here, and I figured he would try to attack me if he believed I was weaker than I really was. So I pretended to show my whole army, a mere couple of pikes and a sword, and then hid my other pikes up here in the north. And I was correct, he did not explore that. My ambush didn't work as well as I had hoped. It would have worked much better if there were knights, for example, which of course is impossible, but it did enable him to stay out of my base long enough until the Dark Lord arrived. Perhaps it would have been better just to show all my cards, and then he wouldn't have attacked me in the first place. But nevertheless, Killer's army has been destroyed, which give the Dark Lord and I some fresh air for a while to help build up. And I go on a full-out fish abusing spree. This is 5 fishermen, count them. I guess I'm playing out for the expecting this game not to last the whole game, so I will be supporting my economy with lots of fish. Dark Lord is trying to do some trouble with a horse. This is his specialty. He loves making just the one horse and running around trying to cause mischief wherever he can, and getting those tactical hits. Why is the Dark Lord wisely retreating, seeing that he is definitely outnumbered? We can win for an interesting normal strategy almost, having 0 army at peacetime. And although if he gets rushed, he's obviously over, but if he's not rushed, he has a huge advantage in that he's going to have the best economy. As you can see, he has only 1 tower, which he just made, and his base is works rather well. He's got a nice farm placement here. This farm's a little funny, but still I believe it's pretty efficient. 2 swine farms. And he didn't trade away a whole lot of food, but he did trade away some. We'll speed the game up a little bit. Weekend and Killer have nice armies together. At this point, I think it would be wise for them to start putting some pressure on, but they elect to not do so. Okay, here they go. They Weekend with his leather army and Killer with his militia and crossbowman combination. I've never been too impressed with Weekend's fighting skills. Maybe I've just caught him at his bad moments, but the Dark Lord is definitely known for his ability to fight, and I've outmaneuvered Killer in some micro wars before, and recently too. So here you can see we are clearly outnumbered. Dark Lord does have quite nice army, but you can see Killer is matching it just alone, and then Weekend also has his leather. However, so Dark Lord and I both are trying to win this by micro, and that can really make the difference in a fight. Here you can see bowmen shoot faster than crossbowmen, though crossbowmen, if they land a hit, it's very deadly. But I'm using these 2 bows to try and pick off these crossbowmen, and just a couple of kills will really make a difference, especially with militia. Just a couple of shots from a crossbow will kill a militia. And just tiny little maneuvers like this. Killer's lost about 5 or 6 crossbowmen, and I've lost 2 bows, and I think it's definitely a fair trade. And here you can see, you never want to get your melee soldiers caught without any range support. So that was a good move by Weekend. He fought right when you needed to. Maybe not a great move if you have horses on the battlefield, and Dark Lord was able to get up there and kill him fast enough, so maybe not such a good move. They're now in full retreat as Weekend's army was completely dismantled there. Killer wisely sending his militia to slow my pikes down, and I won't be able to catch his army now. And checking the economies real quick. Killer still has not transitioned at all in the leather. He only has but 1 farm to support bread production. Weekend has a normal leather base still, just 2 swine farms, and he is making some additional farms and transitioning more in iron. You can see he can make quite a few soldiers. In these types of games, it could be wise to go for a 3rd metallurgist just because of the amount of recruits you're making the entire game. I mean, you're making recruit production from 20 minutes into the game, so that's very heavy on your gold income. Or weighs heavily on your gold income. You can see the difference also. He has only 2 swine farms and a fishery, but 15 sausages inside his storehouse, and you can see 18 laborers and 52 serfs. It really makes a difference. Those extra 20 or so serfs, 10 laborers, and additional citizens working in your city, it really changes how much food you need. And you can see here, he's doing just fine with 2 swine farms. The Dark Lord, his economy is looking close to weekends. He's got a couple of wine farms, an extra fisher. These weapons don't seem to be working as fluently, and has quite a bit of coal in the bank. That's rather unusual. And my economy, building now my 3rd swine farm, as I am overproducing corn a bit. My fisheries still seem to be running, but the fish seems to be running out. I don't see a whole lot of them swimming around anymore. We'll speed it up, as this is a huge camp fest for a while. And I see some maneuvers going on over here. We've reached a point of the game where you really don't want to be producing mass pikes as this many bows on the field, and then you can see the range from killer as well. It's starting to get to the point where pikes are no longer as critical as they once were. Redford still only has 2 iron mines, which is a mistake, as he does have 2 iron smelters, and if you can make that 3rd iron mine, it's definitely a good idea. He's definitely got the coal to spare. He's not even making weapons, and maybe that's on purpose. Yeah, I guess he's giving his armor smithy a chance to catch up or something. Although I see he makes some individual orders. I always count. Oh, interesting. I'm always making orders of 100 each time and adjusting it as needed. Maybe it's other players who are giving individual orders. As you can see, all these counts are quite low and mine are rather high. There you go, you learn something new every time. But anyway, you do these low counts, and as you can see, you start forgetting to produce. You can see just how quickly. I guess there was only 4 or so crossbowmen shooting there, but crossbowmen really do a good job at destroying knights. Here you can see I am sending my hungry pikes back so they can get some food. And I believe it's a good trade. If you would trade 1 fish in the market for a pike alone, it would be 7 or so fishes, and then the additional amount for the armor and then the gold. I feel like it's very important to feed your soldiers whenever you can. And here you can see I can definitely afford it, as my fish production is still quite heavy. It's just mega fish abuse. And still a huge camp fest, standing around bringing more and more soldiers to the fight. Seems like players right now are mostly focused on their economy, so maybe I should be doing the same. You can see here an additional 20 bowmen or so on the field. There are 15 bowmen and some militia here would really make Weekend's army look much more impressive and could give them the manpower needed to push. But he just doesn't have that gold available, and you can see here I am trying to cause some trouble in Killer's base. Trying to take his coal from him. I completely forgot about that. I keep missing the fighting down here. I guess that's why people aren't paying too much attention to the battle up here, because well, here we are. I was just about to say people are paying attention down here, but I was definitely not paying attention to that night. And you can see here Killer seems to be just letting his militia die. And here we see a push. The soldiers are getting hungry. When you're pushing and you're playing from a defending standpoint, it's a smart idea to bring, especially if you see your enemy pushing their melee forward without their bows or crossbows, move your soldiers back a little. It's called more or less a lure. And you're bringing their melee further and further away from their ranged. And you can really help you in the fight, just keeping their melee further and further from their ranged support. And here, this is where the difference horses make, as they're able to kill routing archers with huge efficiency. I'm not going to get a single bow out of here alive, more likely. Well, Dark Lord's knights come to the rescue and save a couple of my bows. At a huge price, though, because now he just loses his knights. But the other day I was told Dark Lord is a camper, and I was really surprised to hear that. But when you see towers like this, you kind of have to sympathize with that point of view. When you have a knight in your base, it's really smart to target serfs carrying important wares, such as this horse here would be a nice target. The Dark Lord has lost most of his economy, but our enemies have lost their entire armies. And Killer's economy does have quite a few timber. And it would be wise to transition more, maybe sell that timber. 2 timber to 1 bread, I think, is the trade. It's a pretty decent trade. And 30 bread right now would definitely do Killer some good. I do see it. Lo and behold, Killer was trading iron armament to 1 axe. This is interesting trades. I'm not quite sure. I agree with that trade, but a storehouse, I'm not sure why that is. Maybe he's making a blockade. Instead of making a storehouse as a blockade, if that's the case, you should just make some farms, as they'd be not only blocking very well, they make good blockades, as they have a decent amount of health and they take a lot of space, but his blockade would actually be doing something, so wouldn't be throwing resources away for so little gain. And here's another overly zealous, perhaps, raiding party by myself. Yeah, I think he's just trying to make a blockade. He should be using farms. Here's an example. He knows what he wants to do. He wants to block this entrance, but he doesn't understand. You want to think about that in your game. You see good players do something, but you want... And I do want to point out, this was a while ago. Killer has gotten much better at the game since then, so please don't judge his playstyle by... or his level by seeing how he played in this joke 30-minute peacetime game from a very long time ago. So, but anyway, you see a good player block an entrance, and you say, hey, I want to do the same, but here it's really not needed, as he's not being attacked from here anyway, and he doesn't even have towers here yet, and towers are better at defending than a blockade in most situations. Further, this blockade isn't really doing anything. Sure, if he put some bows right here, it would be really hard to push from this area up here. But you see there's lots of space here to maneuver, and an army isn't really pushing here anyway, as it's better to defend right here since it's hard to get around this mountain. And also, it would be better just to be using farms. So, take it for what it's worth. Bad catch by me. The Dark Lord just slips his knight away. That's crazy. And Weekend is much weaker here now that he's moved his melee down. And just this push down here, even though we lost a lot of soldiers, it's probably worth it just to keep Killer Weekend's army away. And if we're able to catch this, then it would be very good for us. Perhaps not catching quite like how I'm doing it, as I'm just charging and getting too far away from the range. But as you can see, our numbers are strong enough where we're still seeming to win this fight. Well, maybe not. Spoke too soon, perhaps. We're not able to do the damage in time, and we're going to have to retreat as Weekend's army is back. And this is more than we can handle. And now we see Weekend is charging past his range. Although we did not take position to shoot fast enough, and it works out for him. And here, you never want to get all your melee caught in a fight if your enemy has ranged units, and now he'll just get flanked. This is too many militia for us to handle, though. We don't have enough melee to prevent ourselves from being defeated by it. And you wondering maybe why Killer went back. I sent my knights over to catch these stray militia, and that was enough to pull this long line of militia away from the fight. And that was I wish I caught that. It was a brilliant move. You see that long snake, and I caught the end of it to keep it away from the fight. And at that point, Killer and Weekend resigned. The game was not quite over, but they had enough. You can see they were pushing most of the game and made little progress. It was a lot of camping from me and the Dark Lord, I will admit, as my army was very bad almost the whole game. And then towards the end, Killer kept getting raided and was not able to really get far in his economy, so he got a little frustrated and said, hey, I don't want to play this anymore. And as you can see, this militia here is really all that he has. So Dark Lord and I were gaining small amount of ground every 30 minutes or so, but after an hour and 45 we decided to call it quits and leave it at that. And the Dark Lord actually produced by far the fewest soldiers. Maybe he didn't make many militia, and that's it. I'm not sure. Not many leather units, it seems. I don't know. Nevertheless, his kills were really what did the job. He produced the fewest soldiers, but still killed the most. And what your soldiers are for is to kill enemy soldiers. So I mean, he is getting the most value out of his soldiers, and perhaps that's what you need to do, is make less soldiers, but get better quality. You can see he did have the most horses, and that will definitely help with that. Yeah, you can see army graph, just the whole game really. Killer and Weekend had more, much more than we did. And it's really hard to push in those kinds of situations. Weekend by far producing the most weapons. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. Another funny game. I really like this 30-minute peacetime game mode, and I would like to play more. And maybe these kinds of shoutcasts where there's a lot of defending are not the best in promoting it, but nevertheless, I do my best. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.